Welcome to Deep Sleep Stories. My name is Matt. I know this podcast is quite new, but some of you have been following along for a while now. As you may have noticed, the narrator has changed a couple of times already in just a few months. The truth is, the podcast has been growing extremely slow, and basically nobody has left us any reviews so far. I'm here as the new voice of the podcast and would love to stick around, but I need your support to do so. Please, if you enjoy our content, it would mean so much to us if you could just leave us a review on whichever podcast platform you use. Now, take a deep breath and let's begin tonight's story.
Welcome to Deep Sleep Stories. Close your eyes if you wish and settle yourself into a soft, comfortable position. Take in a deep breath, letting the air fill your lungs and expand your belly. Then let it flow out in a calm, unhurried exhale. Tonight, you are invited on a soothing journey called Pinocchio's Lantern Path. In the distance, you can almost sense a warm, flickering glow that guides you into a realm of gentle wonder. As you breathe, feel your body begin to soften and your mind begin to quiet, allowing each thought to drift away like a small ship on a moonlit tide. The air around you grows tranquil, like a cool evening breeze scented with lavender and the lingering hush of dusk. Give yourself permission in this moment to be at peace, to let go of the day's troubles, and to gently sink into a state of restful relaxation. Now, shift your awareness to a simpler time and place. The lights are dim, the corners of the room are wrapped in velvety shadow, and the only sound is the soft hush of your own breath. Soon, you will discover a story that meanders like a peaceful river. There is no hurry here, only a quiet path leading you forward, step by step, into the twilight. You are free to relax fully. With that gentle invitation, take another deep breath in, then slowly release it. Feel your eyelids grow heavy and your muscles loosen. You might catch a hint of wood shavings in the air, an aroma that beckons you to a quiet workshop filled with lanterns and the whisper of dreams. Let any tension melt away as you sink further into your pillows, the weight of the day falling off your shoulders. And now, let the story begin. Long ago, in a small old-world village, brimming with the essence of twilight magic, Pinocchio lived in a tidy workshop filled with carefully crafted toys and puppets. The workshop, made of sturdy oak, had a narrow door that creaked gently whenever someone stepped across its threshold. Each wall was lined with shelves that gleamed with a well-worn polish, and these shelves were home to countless bits and pieces, scraps of fabric in every colour of the rainbow, half-finished wooden toys that still carried the faint scent of freshly cut pine, and a variety of brushes and paints waiting patiently for the next spark of creativity. Every evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, the workshop was lit by a soft glow of lanterns placed along the windowsills. Pinocchio was a little wooden figure, known by many in the village for his curious spirit and gentle heart. Although he sometimes longed for adventure, his world remained mostly calm, filled with gentle tasks and small wonders that never rushed him. During the day, he assisted his maker with simple chores, smoothing out the edges of wooden blocks, organizing paint jars, or tidying the threads used for delicate puppet costumes. By night, while the village slipped into slumber, Pinocchio would stand quietly near the window, gazing at the stars in wonder. There was something comforting about that silent communion with the sky, where each tiny light was like a lantern guiding him into thoughts of what lay just beyond the horizon. The village, though modest, had a certain enchantment that only revealed itself after dark. When twilight descended, wispy clouds drifted across the moon like soft silver veils. The cobblestone streets, worn smooth by generations of footsteps, glowed faintly in the lantern light that lined the pathways. A gentle hush spread across the little town, broken only by the distant hoot of an owl or the occasional chirp of a night cricket. Within this serene landscape, Pinocchio felt at home, as though the quiet itself was a lullaby meant only for him. One particular evening, as Pinocchio settled by the workshop's window, he noticed a shimmer far off in the distance. It was not the usual starlight or the flicker of the village lamps. This was something new, something gentle yet vibrant. He leaned forward, carved hands resting on the windowsill, and watched it for several minutes. The glow, steady and reassuring, came from a path just beyond the village gates, where a narrow road wound up a gradual slope toward a small wooded hill. Pinocchio felt a soft tug in his chest, a call to follow that flickering light. When he mentioned the unusual glow to his maker, a kindly old craftsman with kind eyes and a patient manner, the craftsman only smiled. "That path has always been there," he said, voice low and comforting, "but not everyone sees its lanterns shining. Perhaps it's time for you to follow it, if your heart so desires." And so, one quiet twilight, when the moon hung low and the night sky was at its darkest blue, Pinocchio gently creaked open the workshop door. A hush fell upon the street, as if every star and every cobblestone were waiting to see what he might do. With careful steps, he made his way out of the village. His wooden shoes made soft taps on the cobbles, but even those small sounds seemed muffled by the coziness of the evening. He passed the shuttered windows of neighbours and friends, each household resting in the comfort of nighttime dreams. Soon he stood at the edge of the village, where the cobblestones gave way to a narrow dirt road, and the lanterns from the town grew dim behind him. The gentle glow he had seen from the workshop window pulsed at the far end of the path, as if beckoning him forward. Pinocchio took a steady breath, feeling the evening air fill his wooden frame, as though he were breathing in the very calmness of the world. Then, with a tender smile, he ventured onto the road, letting the promise of the mysterious lanterns guide him. The path was lined with tall grass that swayed in a mild breeze, creating a gentle rustling that was more soothing than any lullaby. Overhead, the canopy of night shimmered with countless stars. From time to time, a small gust would rustle through a tree's leaves, sending a cascade of moonlit shadows dancing across the ground. Each step felt soft, like walking on a bed of feathers, as if the earth itself were cushioning his journey. The air around Pinocchio smelled faintly of dew-kissed flowers and fresh night air, carrying a sense of peacefulness that made him feel safe. As he continued, he soon came upon a lantern post glowing with gentle golden flame. The light it cast was not harsh or glaring, but warm and welcoming, like a friend waving hello in the dusk. Pinocchio noticed that a little sign was attached to the post. The sign, carved in graceful script, read, "Follow and find rest." Pinocchio ran his wooden fingertips over the letters. With a quiet determination, he nodded and proceeded, guided by the next lantern that shone a few yards ahead. It was not long before he found the second lantern, then the third, each with its own welcoming glow. Each lantern stood on its own small wooden post, carefully spaced along the winding path that cut through gentle, rolling hills. And each time Pinocchio moved from one lantern's circle of light to the next, the transition felt like a tiny adventure, surrounded by the hush of the night. Eventually, the path led him to a small clearing at the foot of the wooded hill. Here, the lanterns were arranged in a circle, illuminating a cozy nook beneath the open sky. In the very center of the circle stood a low stone bench, smooth and cool to the touch. Pinocchio settled onto it, resting his wooden frame against the comforting stone. He gazed around, noticing how the lantern light blended seamlessly with the moonlight, creating playful patterns on the grass. A soft glow bathed everything, as though the night itself were welcoming him into a hush-filled world. A gentle breeze carried the scent of honeysuckle and pine through the clearing. Pinocchio inhaled slowly, letting the aroma wash over him, and allowed his shoulders, carved though they were, to relax. The weight of the day, mild as it might have been, seemed to slip away, carried off by the quiet magic of this hidden place. After a moment, he felt a presence nearby. From the shadows emerged a friendly cricket, hopping near one of the lantern posts. Its legs made a faint chirrup that spoke of contentment. The cricket seemed perfectly at ease, moving without urgency, as if the clearing were as much its home as the workshop was Pinocchio's. The little creature paused at Pinocchio's feet, antennae twitching in curiosity. Pinocchio watched with gentle fascination. In the night stillness, even the slightest motion seemed to hold a quiet significance. He leaned forward and whispered a soft greeting, but the cricket merely chirped once more, as though to acknowledge him. Leaving the cricket to continue its nocturnal wanderings, Pinocchio rose from the bench. The circle of lanterns still offered its warm illumination, but there was another soft glow farther up the slope. It beckoned to him like a comforting whisper. He followed the lanterns up a gentle incline, each step leading him deeper into the hush of the night, deeper into the mesmerizing calm of the hillside. As he moved higher, the breeze became a bit cooler, wrapping around him like a light blanket. The path was smooth, framed by lantern posts spaced at intervals, that seemed designed to guide him without rush or uncertainty. Pinocchio noticed how each light overlapped with the next, ensuring there were no dark stretches to cross. Everything about this journey felt supportive and safe, as though the path itself were shaped by a kind intention. Further along, tall, elegant trees, maples and birches, began to appear on either side of the path. Their leaves glimmered faintly under the lantern light. Pinocchio could hear the faint ruffle of nightbirds nesting in the branches above, their soft coos blending with the lullaby hum of the forest. He paused occasionally to soak in the silence, which wasn't really silent at all, but full of gentle night songs and the distant echo of the village clock tower, reminding him that time was drifting steadily onward. Eventually, the path leveled out, and Pinocchio found himself on a small plateau near the top of the hill. Here, the lanterns formed another ring, encircling a massive old oak tree. Its trunk was thick and gnarled, marked by the patterns of countless seasons. A wooden sign hung from one of the lower branches, swinging softly in the breeze. Written on it was a single word: rest. Pinocchio approached the tree, feeling a sense of reverence. The oak's roots formed a natural bench, covered in soft moss. He sat down, leaning his back against the trunk. From this vantage point, he could see the lantern-lit path he had followed, winding gracefully back toward the village. Pinocchio looked to the sky. The stars seemed to shimmer more brightly here, perhaps because the air was so clear. And the moon, now higher in the sky, cast a gentle glow across the entire landscape. In that moment, Pinocchio felt a sense of unity with everything around him. The quiet life of the forest, the subtle glow of the lanterns, and the expansive embrace of the night sky all converged to create an atmosphere of deep serenity. A small sigh escaped his wooden lips, if it could even be called a sigh. It was more like the tender release of all that weighed on him, letting the hush of the evening fill every corner of his being. Minutes passed like dream seconds, fluid and uncounted. Pinocchio watched the dance of shadows on the grass, the gentle sway of branches overhead, and the soft flicker of lantern flames. In the distance, he could just make out the edges of the village. Lanterns glowed in a pattern that felt like the reflection of stars on a calm lake. It struck him how beautifully everything aligned, as though the lanterns below and the stars above were in silent conversation. He began to wonder if the path extended beyond this oak tree, perhaps further into the forest or up another slope. But the old oak's message of rest felt like an invitation to pause rather than to press on. Leaning his head back against the trunk, Pinocchio let his eyes drift closed. He tuned into the subtle rhythms of the night, his own steady presence, the delicate hush of the breeze, the faint chirping of crickets. There was no hurry, no pressing matter, no conflict calling him away. Only the gentle breath of the world, beckoning him to sink into the moment. After a while, as the moon reached its zenith, Pinocchio opened his eyes again. He noticed a single firefly circling one of the lanterns, its soft glow blinking like a tiny heartbeat in the dark. Soon, another firefly joined, then another, until a small cloud of flickering lights danced around the lantern posts. They twirled and drifted, painting the air with brief, glowing strokes. The scene was mesmerizing, like watching living sparks flutter in a gentle waltz. Pinocchio rose, curiosity piqued by these twinkling companions. As he approached, the fireflies drifted toward him, blinking in their own mysterious pattern, as if to guide him to the next point of interest. Quietly, he followed them around the great oak. There, behind its enormous trunk, he saw a final lantern, slightly larger than the rest. Its post bore another sign, Wish. He touched the sign gently, feeling the grooves in the wood. Could it be that this lantern was meant to grant a wish, or perhaps symbolize the quiet hope nestled within every living soul? Pinocchio pondered that question without words, just holding the thought in the tender stillness of his mind. Then he closed his eyes for a moment, letting an unspoken wish form in the warmth of his wooden heart. A wish for peaceful nights, for gentle guidance, and for the glowing reassurance that no one ever truly journeys alone. When he opened his eyes, the largest lantern glowed just a fraction brighter, as though acknowledging his silent wish. A soft breeze passed by, carrying the faint scent of wildflowers, and Pinocchio felt a deep calm settle into him. He realized that the night was waning, and that soon the first hints of dawn would begin to brush the eastern sky with the palest strokes of pink and grey. It was time to head back down the hill, to follow the lantern path home, and to let his wooden body find its well-deserved rest. With steady steps, he retraced the path. The lanterns still burned warmly, guiding him as surely as they had led him up. Each pool of light felt like a comforting reminder that he was on the right path, and as he descended, the quiet hush of the night accompanied him, wrapping him in a sense of security and belonging. By the time he reached the little clearing at the bottom of the hill, the sky above was indeed beginning to lighten. Stars still twinkled, but they were growing faint, preparing to yield the stage to the sun's arrival. The cricket he had met earlier was gone, likely settled in its hidden nook for the day. The clearing was just as tranquil as before, though the lantern's glow looked softer, more subdued in the early morning dimness. Pinocchio paused here for a moment, letting the memory of the oak's message, rest, drift back into his consciousness. It felt right in that moment to carry such an idea in his heart, a reminder that sometimes the most important adventure is simply to yield to tranquility, to find a place of stillness and let it nourish you. When Pinocchio finally stepped back onto the cobblestone streets of the village, dawn was gently breaking. A soft, powdery blue crept across the sky, and a few birds began to sing their morning notes. The houses remained quiet, shutters still drawn, as the villagers lingered in their last moments of slumber. Pinocchio made his way to the workshop door and slipped inside. The space was just as he had left it, lit only by a single lantern and the faint glow from outside. He removed his wooden shoes at the entrance, mindful not to make too much noise, and tiptoed across the wooden floor. The workshop seemed to greet him with a tender hush. The shelves, the scattered tools, the half-finished puppets, all were bathed in the gentle twilight of early morning. He quietly climbed onto the little cot that his maker had arranged for him in a corner of the room. Although he was a wooden figure, he still enjoyed the sensation of lying down, of allowing his limbs to rest, of feeling the stillness that preceded the new day. Closing his eyes, Pinocchio surrendered himself to that profound calm. Outside, the birds continued their dawn chorus, and the first rays of the sun began to peek over the horizon. Yet, within the workshop, time seemed suspended. The memory of the lantern path, the old oak tree, and the silent wish lingered in his thoughts, soothing him like a lullaby. He could almost feel the gentle flicker of that largest lantern in his mind, holding space for peace, rest, and the unspoken dreams that guide every heart. And so, as Pinocchio drifted into a deep, tranquil sleep, the village around him slowly awoke, never suspecting the little adventure he had taken under the moonlit sky. Now, let all that calm soak gently into your own body. Notice the rhythmic flow of your breath, soft as a whisper. You have travelled a winding path of lanterns, felt the hush of the night, and found a welcoming place to rest. Let your muscles grow even heavier now, surrendering to the deep support beneath you. With every easy inhale, you take in tranquility, and with every unhurried exhale, you release any worries or tension. Everything you need in this moment is here. You're safe, cradled by warmth, guided by soft light. Your eyes may close more fully, lids softly pressing together. Your limbs may sink deeper into the soothing surface that holds you. Imagine those lanterns on the path, each one shining with a gentle glow, guiding you into an ever deeper state of comfort. As you drift, let each image fade into a soft blur of moonlight and firefly sparks. There is nothing left to do, nowhere else you need to be. Feel the quiet hush around you, like a blanket of calm that settles over your shoulders. The night sky in your mind stretches wide and peaceful, sprinkled with stars that flicker in the distance. The air is cool, the lanterns glow, and a sense of complete ease wraps you in its gentle arms. One breath at a time, you float further into rest. Let all thoughts gently drift away now. Sleep beckons, soft and certain, drawing you into its comforting embrace. You are free to let go, free to rest without care. Let Pinocchio's night journey stay with you, only as long as it serves your peace. Then let it slip into a pleasant dream. May your breathing remain slow, your heartbeat steady, and your mind as calm as a still pond under the moonlight. Good night, dear traveller. Sleep well and dream softly.